It's July the 28th, 2016. This is 508, a show about Worcester. We're looking out the window from Technocopia. Technocopia. Hi, guys. Today on the show from Technocopia, we have Nick Bold, we have Joe Forjette, and as usual, Brendan Mellikins. Hi, Brendan.
How are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
Likewise.
If people have seen any past 508s, you've seen when we talked to the think tank sort of alternate education project. You've seen us talk to the Technocopia Makerspace. All of these guys, plus Ian Anderson's machine shop, are now in the same place here in the printers building on the 6th floor in downtown Worcester. And you all are fixing to have your grand opening, right?
Yeah, we've been open for a few months, but we're looking to have a big grand opening with all the VIPs that sort of supported us, and then the fundraisers and backers for Indiegogo and a few private donors and stuff. We owe them a lot, so we wanted to say thank you and have a big event, and so a good excuse to spend some money and have everyone in for food and drinks and stuff.
That's fantastic. So tell me, Nick, what about Technocopia? What is this?
Technocopia is now a hybrid organization. We started off as a makerspace where we worked to sort of create an environment where people could run their businesses and trades, and we ended up wanting to broaden that. Most makerspaces have education communities. Most makerspaces had more workshops and trades than we had at the time, and sort of our model was to take businesses in and take care of them. So we ended up doing that and sort of broadening ourselves by picking up the Worcester think tank and sort of extending our service to them, but then also very much bringing them on board as partners. And now we have an education group. With them, we brought in Ian's wood shop, so now we have a full-scale commercial-grade wood shop, and then we've got a bunch of new shops that we've sort of been creating since the joining of the three organizations.
So like a wood shop is like an old-time maker or a more traditional maker space, and then a maker space is where you have 3D printers and computerized things and
I think
lasers.
The definitions are pretty nebulous. Like we can call it whatever. We can call it a maker space and have it be our regional thing. So,
right.
For us, a maker space is what we have. So a lot of it's the digital fab, but now we're way more diverse and have more tradesmen doing sort of a lot more sort of real work as opposed to just the digital stuff that we were playing around with before.
And I want to talk to Adam Zelny, who just walked in from Think Tank. Hi, Adam.
Hey, Mike.
And this room right here is the Think Tank classroom?
It is used primarily by Think Tank,
okay.
But I have actually run adult workshops in here for Technocopia. So I've done a couple of 3D design and printing workshops. They're like 3-hour small workshops.
Right.
So we have used it for adult workshops as well as Think Tank's youth classes. And we run meetings in here and other stuff like that. So.
And so just for people who don't know about Think Tank, the kinds of youth classes that Think Tank has done through the years have been things like
hybrid art and science classes, so taking, let's say, rocketry, for example. We did a workshop where students made rockets, or they put together model rockets, but more so they actually built their own launch controllers, so they got to learn a little bit about an electronic circuit, and assembled it and actually went to like Green Hill Park and launched their rockets. A lot of art science classes, so for example exploring anatomy and physiology, and then using that knowledge and turning it into some sort of presentable art project. Usually we would like do that a lot in a lot of different classes and workshops, and then we would showcase it at the end of like a semester or at the end of our school year. So and I like one of my hybrid classes that is pretty popular with like middle schoolers is called Civil Engineering and Minecraft, and I take like kind of really simple practical civil engineering concepts and use the Minecraft video game as like a tool to teach that.
Are you guys doing any Pokemon Go based classes?
Well, I haven't talked to too many people. I know there's a couple of members that actually do Pokemon Go, but quite honestly, I like my cell phone data plan just I would totally try.
Maybe next semester.
Yeah. Right.
Brendan, do you have any questions?
Related to Pokemon Go or in general?
No, about Technocopia.
No, I guess primarily starting here, but I think it's applicable to everybody. So when we're with Think Tank, like where do you see the overlap or with like say like traditional like public education or whatnot? Like I know you've got a lot of youth programs and whatnot coming through. Is there like a blending or is there some like are you working within the schools or is separate from? Is there some buy-in from?
That's a good question. So so the short answer is no.
But there should be.
There should be, yeah. So I would say it's kind of growing a little bit. So right now we have done, we have like reached out to schools, and they're not. What ends up happening is charter schools or academies that are private will kind of network with us, and that relationship starts to gel and become something. So we have worked with some places like that. So actually the first youth program that we had in our new Technocopia space was Gan Academy, and they're in Waltham, and they're a Jewish academy, and they had like I think about 9 or 10 high school students come here, and they went through like the gamut of like laser cutting, 3D printing. Nick actually helped us out with that as well, and I taught some CAD software to them, and it was actually like they really covered like a lot of different kind of makerspace tools, and they loved it, and they were here for like a whole week. So that does happen.
Okay.
But again, it's not like North High, right, in Worcester, right, or South High.
Yeah.
You know, like it's
Not
not
that that's
those
an easy
public
relationship
schools.
to forge, but I guess, and this is where I would push it to the rest of you guys, is like for I don't know, 5-6 years, maybe a decade now, that's been the conversation locally in education is STEM, right, everything, and that is this, you know, it in a real sense versus, you know, a hypothetical or a philosophical sense in traditional education settings. It's almost crazy in a way that like there isn't that sort of blending.
So I want to highlight one other thing that actually speaks to what you're talking about, and Nick again was involved in this. Is Kevin here? Yeah. He is. So yeah, so you should probably check in with Kevin Harrington about this as well. So Kevin and I were the lead teachers in a Quinsigamond Community College program that ran for 2 weeks, and Quinsigamond reached out to Lauren Monroe, who is the founder of Think Tank, and asked if Lauren would get some teachers together and run a kind of dual 2-week program where we would see teachers for kind of professional development work in the morning, and then we would have 3 hours with high school students for 2 weeks in the afternoons. And it was awesome. It was really successful. And that is a big step, I think.
Yeah.
You know, and that took some QCC admins, partly getting the Fab Lab up at QCC and running, and pulling in Technocopia people, like founders of Technocopia, to run that. And then by association, we eventually got in and did some like hands-on work with public school kids and public school teachers. So while it wasn't a direct relationship with the public school, it was an indirect. You know?
Tens of thousands of kids in here, but if you can handle a handful of teachers and actually start, you know, working that relationship, and the trickle down effect is huge. You would assume so. Yeah.
So we're
mean,
we're definitely pioneering.
I got to interrupt you because we've been in this classroom too long. There's so much good stuff in this place. Can we go? Can you guys take us and show us some of the amazing stuff? This classroom is amazing, by the way. The view is spectacular.
Cool.
Hi, Joe.
Hey,
Let me get back to you.
so this is our little digital Fab Lab. This is a computer that's been donated that looks like it's churning some Kool-Aid or something.
I love this computer. This is
It's
the
a
most
liquid pool.
It's like the most glam computer I've ever seen.
Yeah. We don't have any designs up right now, but this is where we do most of our CAD and 3D design for designs that go to our digital fabrication equipment.
And this is like a 3D scanner.
That is.
Here?
Yeah.
So you put stuff on here and it pulls it around, and these lasers hit it.
So this one's a table mount. It's a little higher resolution than some of the other ones that exist. It's actually relatively modest as far as 3D scanners go, but being able to have it is really sort of it was pretty cool for us. We actually won it in a contest. It was a contest for cool open source projects. So some of the people here do some pretty impressive stuff, including open source robotics. And that was what won us a 3D printer from Lulzbot. They support open source projects.
Spectacular.
Yeah, pretty awesome.
As we move around here, what else do we see?
Sure, do you want to talk about that 3D printer behind the chairs?
My 3D printer.
Yeah.
This is a ceramic printer.
Yep.
Oh wow! Yeah, so you can see all the whatever that is, plaster, ceramic, clay.
Yeah. Right now, the printer's obsolete and defunct. or the company is anyways. And so you can't buy the original materials, but you can run it now with vodka and concrete.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so you use the vodka as a binding agent, and the concrete is your your actual printing material.
Sure.
You get little concrete pieces out of it. If you get the binding mix perfect, we've had some issues with actually we gotta. It takes a little bit of effort. Like most of this stuff isn't magic. It's manufacturing. It's a new generation of manufacturing.
Right.
So if you said to a manufacturer that a machine was just gonna pop out something, they'd laugh at you. And that it really is sort of true. Once you really know what you're doing, these machines can do stuff akin to magic, but
there's a lot of know-how and a lot of other
that's
stuff
an
that goes
expert
into it.
user. Experts always make it look easier than it is, really.
And we got a couple 3D plastic printers over here.
Yeah, one of those is mine.
Here's some kind of scaffolding.
These are parts of some larger projects that are very interesting, but probably too much to talk about right now. And Julia, what are you trying to fire up right now on the 3D printer?
Well, I'm making a product that needs 3D printed parts, so I'm actually testing one right now. I'm pretty excited. My first time. I'm a new member, so this is exciting.
Can you tell us about the product, or is this hush-hush?
No, not at all. So Dormboard is an attachable bedside desk, so it's basically a dorm accessory for students who live in dorms.
Okay.
Because it's really uncomfortable, you have no space, so this kind of like tries to be a desk for your bed and a bedside table as well.
Correct.
So it needs 3 3D printed parts, and I'm actually testing it. Yeah.
So you're like prototyping with this
I am.
device. It's taking a second to warm up.
Oh, it's going to take a second.
All right. We'll come back whenever it's actually doing
Okay.
something. Thank you.
I have to sign them. You guys wait a second.
So these are some members' cubes. So we have cubes for rent that members that pursue their individual interests exist here. So this is a gentleman that's really into building motorcycles and metal.
Sure. So they got a big.
He also happens to be our metal shop manager. Which,
Okay.
Is this shop right across the way? But
Which shop is this?
so this is okay. So you guys have been with us for a long time. We've been building. So when we came into here, we've got a couple spaces that you're going to see in a little bit that are still being built. Right now, this is where our digital tools are, and some of our metal tools. Doing metal work on a 6th floor of a sky-rise with wooden floors and jazz is like really hard. So,
Is it just stuff vibrates too much? It's too loud?
It's fire hazards. We're
Oh,
concerned
okay.
about. So this room's going to be our metal shop, metal fabrication, welding, etc. Milling machines and what have you. We got to work through the permits. We got a grant, $84,000 grant, and a lot of that's going to pay for infrastructure that we need to finish
To make
the
it a
shop.
safe, good
That's right.
place.
Right now, these guys are in here. I'll show you the space that they're going to move into. So part of that grant will be for new digital tools.
I think I know what this is because I remember this from the
grades.
last time.
Yeah.
Is that this is
Our
like
ancients.
a giant router,
Yeah.
basically robotic router.
CNC, yeah.
CNC. Yeah, there you go.
Homemade, as you can see. Yeah.
And then behind you is the old laser and one of Ian's miniature mills, and that's
Okay.
the works.
Oh, right here.
These are probably some of our most used tools, even though they're not pretty. They actually serve a great function, and the members really enjoy using them.
The laser cutter over here.
The laser cutter and the CNC.
And this is another homemade thing. The homemade. I love this. I love the idea of a homemade laser cutter. It seems like such a great idea and such a bad idea at the same time.
There's a danger sticker on the side, so that's
So
okay. As
it's
long as you get one danger sticker.
Do I want to stand near this while you're turning it on?
It's their
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, as far as things go, lasers are probably not as dangerous as people find them scary. And then as far as things go, our laser, for what it looks like, is a great value of a laser. We've put a lot of effort into it, and then we've worked really hard to make sure that it won't hurt anybody. The issue with it is it being home built, it's going to do something, and so we've contained it to just basically it damages itself once in a while, which is not so bad.
All right.
But it's very safe. It's got a bunch of interlocks and safety equipment in it. That we did very well. Sometimes a tube will blow up.
And we should point out that part of the layout of this building is supposed to be that there's different zones which are like kids do not come in this room.
That's right. We worked. One of our other projects, we worked really hard with the think tank when they were coming in to make sure that children ages 5 and up can work in this space with their parents. So not only do we have adult and children classes, we also have workshops and spaces for adult and children to work together. And
Right.
we think over time, as we build a multi-generation membership, that is going to become more profound. We think the multi-generational angle is really a huge, passing on of skills, passing on of knowledge.
Yeah.
It's a really big deal.
So it's the kind of thing where if you are a kid and you do hang around Technocopia a lot,
Yeah.
at some point you're going to learn to use lathe or whatever they have.
Yeah, and there are a lot of the modern new age companies. The Google did it most noteworthy. They plucked a particularly capable student out of high school and hired him with a portfolio. So a space like Technocopia and a community like Technocopia might be part of that gateway into the new era of jobs where companies are looking for demonstrations of skill, not necessarily a piece of paper, and companies like Google are sort of backing that up with their hiring policies.
But you can go into an interview and say, here's a bunch of stuff that I designed, built, tested, made other stuff
and
with.
arguably a lot of the giant companies like Google are explicitly looking for things they've never even seen before. So they'll take you and your product, and that sort of stuff. So there's a lot of new.
We should keep.
This is the new world.
We should keep scooting around.
This is a woodworker, fine woodworker, Ian Anderson's studio actually, so he rents this out and builds all kinds of
So
amazing
this is
things.
like somebody's personal stuff. All this.
That's
in
right.
this slot.
That's right. This is all of Ian's personal tools.
It's kind of amazing that you have some of the oldest of school hand tools alongside home-built lasers, right? You're like, that's an amazing thing.
And then here is is this the wood shop?
Yeah, this is the Woodworking Shop. The guys, we have an army of elves working on making the recognition plaques for the donors from our
Hi, guys.
Indiegogo campaign.
Are any of the plaques halfway done that we could look at some?
What do we got for
blanks
a
or something?
plaque? Okay.
Here we go. Here we go. So this is going to have somebody's name engraved on it.
Here, yes. Yeah.
Terrific.
So the interesting thing is that all of these tools are actually Ian Anderson's tools. So that's from Ian Anderson's workshop where he brought all these down and we sort of worked it out where the membership is able to use his tools and he gets space.
Right, and he had kind of like a tool sharing thing going on before, so he's just plugging that into this environment.
That's right. And most of those members that he had previously are now with us now.
I got to say that, Joe, this is one of the things that's so exciting to me is that I feel like you had 3 sustainable, amazing organizations, Think Tank, Ian's Shop, and Technocopia, and then you just move them all together in a better space, and everything is just like, I assume everything's way better? Is it
Absolutely,
playing out that way?
Yeah, the sum of its parts is greater than the whole or something like that along those lines. Yeah, that's the exciting part of this, is everybody getting together to put this together. Sure.
Do we want to keep moving to the next?
Yeah,
let's
sure.
let these guys make some
Got a
plaques.
couple minutes, yeah. This is an electronic shop. It's mostly borrowed and leftover dumpster and sort of equipment, but we do a lot of electronics prototyping, and this is one of the things we'll be investing in.
So this is for everybody to use?
That's absolutely right. Yep.
So you got you got the soldering station, you got your oscilloscopes and your voltmeters and your whatever else. Terrific.
A lot of this stuff is still the same scrap that we had at the old space. So, electronic scrap let people dig in early.
Yeah.
We didn't keep all of the scrap. Some of it, we had to downsize a lot, 3 companies moving into one space.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of spaces, but if we had time to talk about one more,
Sure.
I'd like to show you.
We have time to talk about probably 3 or 4 more actually.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Our newest addition is
What?
a glass shop, a flameworking shop. So a local artisan that works out of the Worcester Center for Crafts has moved her operations here. She's going to start working out of here and teaching classes. Part of the grant will be to buy some flame working, a kiln, do some glass blowing, that sort of thing. And we just literally in this last week got this set up to.
And that kiln or whatever is going to be in this space?
Yep, all of that will be here. Obviously, we'll probably need a little bit more space for the
Right.
glass shop as we grow, but this is a good starting point.
And so she's got some fantastic, very graceful bits and pieces of glass stuff here, and we got some kind of, I don't even know if
That's a torch, for doing your flame working.
I don't know anything about glass blowing actually. So I've seen videos, but looking at the equipment, I have no idea what any of it is.
It's 2 torches and a small kiln. So basically, treating and heating of pieces like what you see there, basically.
Yeah. And so the idea is that this will be another thing where other people who are members of Technocopia may have the opportunity to use her stuff.
In our usual fashion, we took someone who was doing well and demonstrated sort of that bar of professionalism and expertise that we were looking for.
Right.
They had a thing. we wanted to, we wanted to also have that thing, and we sort of picked them up and brought them in, and we offered the same sort of cost savings and community that, had made our other endeavors stronger, and now we add one more to the pot.
And so looking at, one thing I didn't point out in the other spaces was that there's on the back of some of the doors, there's a sign of like, these are the people who are certified to use this equipment. So this would be a similar thing where if it's like, once we know that you know how to use the glass stuff, you can use the glass stuff. But people who are just coming in fresh should not be over here messing stuff.
Yeah, that's right. The basic strategy is each of the basic strategy is that each of our shops is run by the person that brought the equipment and the expertise, and each of those shop managers establish a set of safety sort of check bars.
Sure.
Depending on what tools, like the wood shop obviously has more than one set of tools. There's a number of different safety classes for the wood shop, but then things like digital fab, most of the digital fab things are similar. So there's one class for the bulk of the digital fab equipment. Mm-hmm. Glass shop will be, we're building that, and it'll be at the discretion of the new glass shop manager to create and enforce those safety strategies.
Fantastic. Let's keep looking around it.
Yeah, this might be a nice cube to talk about. So this is a members cube, and this is a great story. This is an older gentleman who's retired, who actually lives in Newton, and he rides the commuter rail every day to come to use our space because it's actually easier for him to ride the commuter rail from Newton to Worcester than it is to go to do something in Boston, even Artisans Asylum. He arrived not knowing how to use any of our tools, but he knew that he wanted to do something. And so now he's starting some very interesting projects with the 3D printing. This is
he's got
this
some
piece as well,
and
some things over here. Do you know anything about what he's doing with all this? It has to do with some frames and geodesic.
So he's a woodworker. He came to us as a woodworker. And I believe he was trying to make some sort of large geodesic structure, a dome, I think, out of wood. And something about that wasn't quite landing right, so he wanted to see if the digital tools, the 3D printers, could produce something more substantial. And it sounds like he's had pretty good progress. To be honest, no one quite knows. Like he's like sort of almost enigmatically been producing countless 3D prints. So you can see like every color shift is another print that he did, and then brought it over here to
assemble and
glue it all together and stuff. And he's got larger pieces up in the stacks and smaller pieces down in the shelves and stuff. So
one day you're gonna come over here and suddenly there's just gonna be like a transformer or something.
I don't know. It'll be something. It's actually. I mean, he's got tons of it at this point. Like, we're waiting to see what happens.
Is this the robotic elephant?
The remains of it, yeah.
Oh, just the remains.
Yeah.
I
Brendan.
think it is important to point out, though, that we just identified at just one, but it's still, for me, is a big deal, an actual individual who resides on the other side of 128, who is now coming to Worcester on a regular basis to work. And like that's something that might be normal for you because you see him every day. But this is like a bigger conversation in the city of Worcester, right? Like, how are we going to start drawing people to us?
Yeah.
And you folks are doing that.
Yeah, we've had a number of people talk about, some people call it the brain drain, or it's part of the issue with the way Worcester runs education, and we lose our college students that we work hard to train, but then we also lose young entrepreneurs to Boston. I think some of it's shifting the other way. Some of the people I talk to suggest that Boston's filling up, and now the state's starting to see Worcester as a more a better value for the investment in different things. But that momentum needs to come along with people who are actually willing to commit to Worcester and run a business here. And to a certain extent, we've had a couple of case examples, but I would think the momentum still generally a lot of people are moving to Worcester or moving to Boston. But there's a lot of movement and a lot of different projects, and some of them are getting traction. So if that becomes the critical mass, I'm optimistic. Yeah.
I want to see if we have to. So the rest of the space is in the middle of being
we're building out.
It'll be a lot more of the same.
I think we have time to look at a couple more spots if we have.
I don't know if Drew is still here.
Here's the Neuron Robotics right here. Drew is not. Oh no, Drew Wilson's gone.
There are some members working on some projects here that might be interesting to check out. Yeah.
What do you?
What is it?
It's a system of voids. So basically, it's just a four-sided void,
Uh-huh.
right? And that's the shape between 4 spheres. They're closely packed. And the other shape is just the way 6 spheres would enclose a void.
Yep.
So it's a system of voids, and they kind of self-assemble. And there's a natural shape that'll start forming.
This is so fantastic.
I don't know if you can see the shape in the center starting to take shape.
So this is like a sphere that you're making in the
Yeah,
center?
that's right. If you look,
Oh yeah, so now we have like a
that's like
hemisphere
I can see the bowl kind
coming
of
out of
show.
here. Yeah.
So Gary's a new member. Tonight, I should point out, tonight is our open hacks and crafts where we encourage the community as well as our members to come down and just work on neat stuff, cool stuff. And this is the first time I've seen this. Gary, did you design this? Or is this
Yeah. So I came here actually to look at manufacturing options to supersize it, right, and made different materials. And I've already had some ideas already.
Terrific.
Now, if you kind of see now, what's happening is my voids, well, the void between my voids is a sphere.
Yeah.
This is great. All right. What else? Is there any other stuff that we should be looking at?
Do you mind if I finish the plug? So
Do it.
Open Hacks and Crafts is available every Thursday at 7:30, and it's open to the public. And you can come in and hang out and work on some stuff with us. But it's to get people to, introduced to our tools, introduced to the people. It's a night for adult show and tell. But then
Right.
again, we're open to families 5 and up.
So you don't have to be a member to come to?
No, not for Open Hacks.
Oh, that's
Absolutely,
great.
yeah.
That's
It's
great.
just an afternoon we all get together. It's actually a lot. It's actually a lot of fun.
That's
we
terrific.
We do too much. All,
This is
every
great.
Thursday.
This is the greatest
Yeah.
thing. What else? Is there any other stuff if we were to look at one more space?
More cubes, I guess we can.
One more? Yeah. Or are we about?
This gentleman is actually, he's also based out of Boston, and he's a skilled woodworker that makes doors. He actually is, he's Boston doors something, and so.
That's actually like a cathedral window.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Doors and windows, I suppose. But yeah, this is his specialty. He enjoys working in this environment. He's had his own separate woodworking shop that he's worked in for many years by himself, but he's moved into Technocopia and he enjoys the camaraderie and hanging out with people and finding other skilled craftsmen to work with him.
Terrific.
It's a cool one. Do you want to look at the new space, the offices in there? Maybe not.
Yeah,
so-
we got
so
about 2 minutes left. Whatever you got, 2 minutes worth of
It's a
stuff.
little dark in there. Yeah.
So this will be the new digital fab.
All right.
So this is our kitchenette. So you see the floors are ripped and the ceiling's partially ripped up. This will be, we're gonna finish gutting the walls out of this space. It's a little irregular. The landlords who are, the Davis family, or the Davis building is run by the Wade family.
Okay.
And they are great partners in this whole endeavor. And they helped us do asbestos abatement in here. And then we've started to do the early demo. This will be where our new digital fab tools and some of the old ones will get refurbished and brought
Some
in
of
here.
the best views are over here. They say, You've got, City Hall and the.
Oh, this is the greatest thing. People need to join Technocopia just so they can do some cool woodworking and 3D printing and then take a break and drink some coffee and look at all this.
Indeed.
Worcester looks like such a dramatic city from a view like this.
It looks like an actual city from over here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really weird. Well, guys, thanks so much for showing us around Technocopia.
Absolutely.
And
Thanks for coming down.
so if people want to get involved with Technocopia, how does it happen? How does it work?
So Thursday nights, Open Hacks and Crafts, Thursday 7:30 is arguably the best. We have the most people. We have the most people doing things, and you can sort of jump in with people who are already working and watch them and follow them. Short of that, you can contact me through our website or directly nick.bold@technocopia.org. And you can make an appointment with me or one of the other staff members, and we can give you a tour, show you around, try to figure out what you're trying to work on and whether or not we can accommodate and those different sort of details that are generally very relevant.
Thanks so much. So again, Nick Bold, Joe Forjette, Brendan Melican.
Mike, I think you'd be missing
Yes.
if you didn't go out the window and point out the number of people playing Pokemon Go that
Can you see them? People can't even see them. This camera has no zoom, but there are a bunch of Pokemon Go players right there.
We're actually
If we had a real zoom, we could see it.
we're actually a Pokestop. If anyone needs Pokeballs, they can come here.
I
and they
stop
can,
by on a regular basis.
All right, guys, we'll see y'all next week.
Yeah.
Have a great time, Worcester.